Do you know Islam was the first religion to be in Africa? Oh, yes. Islam's expansion into Africa began in an unexpected way, not through conquest, but through a peaceful migration. This is the story of the first migration to Abyssinia, Habasha, an event that shaped the course of history and laid the foundation for Islam's presence on the African continent. Join us as we explore how a small group of early Muslims, fleeing persecution in Mecca, found refuge in Christian Abyssinia, and how this migration planted the seeds for Islam's eventual spread across Africa. In the early days of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers faced severe persecution from the Quraysh tribe in Mecca. The small group of Muslims, many of whom were poor and oppressed, were tortured, beaten, and ostracized for abandoning the polytheistic traditions of their forefathers. Seeing their suffering, the Prophet advised some of his followers to seek refuge in Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, where a just and righteous Christian king, Negus al-Najashi, ruled. A small group of about 15 Muslims, including Uthman ibn Affan and Ruqayya, the Prophet's daughter, secretly left Mecca and crossed the Red Sea to reach Abyssinia. They were warmly received by King Negus, who was known for his justice and compassion. When the Quraysh learned of this, they sent envoys, Amr ibn al-As and Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah, to persuade Negus to hand over the Muslims. They presented expensive gifts and accused the Muslims of spreading false teachings. King Negus, being a wise ruler, wanted to hear both sides. He summoned Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, to speak on behalf of the Muslims. Ja'far eloquently explained how Islam had freed them from ignorance and idol worship, teaching them justice, kindness, and belief in one God. He then recited verses from Surah Maryam, chapter of Mary, which described the miraculous birth of Prophet Isa, Jesus, peace be upon him. Negus, moved to tears by the verses, and seeing the similarities between Islam and Christianity, refused to hand the Muslims over. Instead, he granted them protection and allowed them to live peacefully in his kingdom. The migration to Abyssinia marked the first diplomatic relationship between Islam and Africa. Some of these early Muslims stayed in Abyssinia for years, while others returned to join the Prophet in Medina. Later, when King Negus passed away, Prophet Muhammad led a funeral prayer for him in absentia, an honor given to no other non-Muslim ruler. The legacy of this migration strengthened ties between Arabs and Africans, and over time, Islam spread across Africa through trade, scholarship, and peaceful interactions. The story of the first migration to Abyssinia is a reminder that Islam's early expansion was not built on conquest, but on faith, justice, and mutual respect. This moment in history planted the first seeds of Islam in Africa, a continent that would later become home to some of the world's greatest Islamic civilizations. If you found this story fascinating, like, share, and subscribe for more untold histories of the Islamic world. Until next time, peace be upon you.